The reaction show for week one of the NFL season. We are back. That's right. We got Rodley with us. We got a great slate of 16 games. How you doing, Rodley?
I'm doing great, man. What a great day, man.
Absolutely.
Football season started. I don't want to talk about my squad, but generally speaking, there was a lot of talent, a lot of beautiful plays, a lot of surprises. And I look forward to today.
Lots of surprises. We're going to get to your team eventually. We're going to start with another team in your division that's going to give you a lot of issues here. The Detroit Lions defeating the Kansas City Chiefs on opening night, beating the Super Bowl champions 21-20. What an upset in this one. Of course, the Chiefs were missing Travis Kelce. They were missing Chris Jones. And the receiving corps doesn't look like what it used to be. Of course, Kadarius Toney famously dropped a bunch of passes in this one, kind of cost them the game. Pacheco didn't do that well. David Montgomery was the bell cow in this one and took over for Jahmyr Gibbs, who I thought was going to be getting all the carries here. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 6 catches, 71 yards, and a touchdown. Josh Reynolds, they got him involved in the game. This was just Aiden Hutchinson really starting to show out in his second year with the Lions here with 3 QB hits. Just an all-around good performance from the Lions here, who ended last season on a really good note, defeating the Packers. Didn't make the playoffs, but they look primed to be a great team this year. What do you think of this one, man? You're going to be seeing the Lions in your division. What do you think of the Lions? Are they for real?
I will never in my entire life worry about the Lions. They're the line. When they had Stafford and Megatron, they were trash. It's the first game of the season. Nerves are high. The best player on the Kansas City Chiefs is out. These things happen. First of all, I wouldn't call David Montgomery. He had 74 yards and 1 touchdown. I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about like he had like a Christian McCaffrey type game, who we're going to talk about a little bit later.
Oh, we're definitely going to talk about him.
And who are these other bums? You mentioned a bunch of nobodies except for Hutchinson.
Well, what I was saying is, I thought Jahmyr Gibbs was going to get the majority of the carries, but he only got 7 carries for 42 yards. David Montgomery, they gave him 21 carries.
Do we have the data on that? Why did that happen?
Well, I have ESPN up here. I guess maybe you can't see it, but I'm showing screen in screen here, picture in picture. So everyone that's watching this is able to see here the stats, the breakdown. So David Montgomery got 3/4 of the carries here. Jahmyr Gibbs, their first round pick, only got 7 carries. So that was kind of
like it's a first game. Let's get him. I feel the same way about Bijan, who we're gonna talk about a little bit later. Oh my days, am I worried about that guy? But you gotta let him get used to it. Maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah. Opening day jitters, the first game of the season on Thursday night. Maybe this is just getting the jitters out of the way. As a Seahawks supporter, I am a little worried that the Lions might be for real because they're playing the Seahawks next week. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the next game.
Nothing to worry about, my friend. This is the Lions we're talking
about. I know, but bro, they've been looking good lately, man. I mean, they helped my Seahawks get into the playoffs last season by defeating the Packers at Lambeau the last week of the season, so they might be for real. Dan Campbell, we'll see. But we'll move on. Actually, we got OY on the call here. Let's bring him in.
Yo.
All right, we got OY
What's
here.
Going on, OY?
Eating snacks, it seems. How you doing, OY?
Can you see me now?
Are you in a hotel room?
Yeah, we can see you.
I am, man. Like, I have a work conference going on, so I'm in a hotel room right now.
Nice.
All right.
I like it.
Let's get started.
Nice.
Bro, why you hating on my Yahoo scoring, bro?
First of all, we've already started talking about the game, so we'll keep this conversation till the end.
Okay.
But there's a lot to hate.
All right, go ahead.
Yahoo, a very controversial platform, but I think it's better than Sleeper. Maybe that's a controversial take. But we're moving on now. We just talked about the first game. We're moving on to the second game here. C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans being beat by the Baltimore Ravens 25-9. About the only team that would be able to, the Ravens could beat on this day, where Lamar Jackson was sloppy, of course. 2 fumbles, lost one of the fumbles. Zay Flowers pretty much carried this team. He is a godsend for this team. 9 catches for 78 yards. CJ Stroud just had an okay day. He found Nico Collins a bunch in this one. What did you guys see? What did you guys see in this one? I thought it was kind of a ho hum game. What did you think of this game?
I see the relentless hate that you have for Lamar Jackson. You're sure maybe he didn't have a great game, but they won.
They did win.
What do you want from this guy? The point is to win the game.
That's true. He barely
So
won.
why are you hating?
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway,
he beat a rookie quarterback, so to me it wasn't that impressive.
Plays, not a lot of touchdowns. I don't think the Houston Texans didn't even score a touchdown in this game.
Yeah, no, it was ugly. It was ugly, and it was pretty much Justice Hill 2 touchdowns, J.K. Dobbins 1 touchdown, who is now out for the season. J.K. Dobbins, I mean, poor guy. This guy's completely injury prone. It was tough. It was tough to see.
Beautiful catch, though. Did you see that catch?
Odell?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of his two catches for 37 yards. You know, the thing is, you should be used to really him only getting 2 catches because really the receivers aren't going to get much. Receivers totaled 5 catches in this game, other than Zay Flowers, who got the 9 catches, who really, I mean, they're getting him the ball the same way they get the tight ends the ball, which is like really close to the line of scrimmage, and then Zay Flowers did the rest of the work. No?
Yeah, not much of a game here for me.
Yeah. What do you have to say? Oh, why?
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. And it kind of goes to a more general point. I think like week 1, at least like the early slot, like the games are pretty lame, honestly. And I think it might be like this was basically like a week 4 of the preseason. I think is what we kind of saw. So I would agree with you guys. I think this game was a little lackluster. I never really thought Houston was going to win this game anyway. So I'm not surprised by that. I do agree with you that I think Zay Flowers is a beast. I think he might be like he might contend for that Rookie of the Year award. Let's just say that. And that division is going to be interesting, man, because like he might give Lamar and another weapon to kind of help that offense a little bit. So we'll see what happens.
A badly needed weapon for Lamar to make him look serviceable. The only thing that stood out to me with the Texans here is the connection between C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins. But let's move on to a better game here, and a very surprising game as well, which was the Cleveland Browns defeating the Cincinnati Bengals 24-3. I don't think any of us saw this coming. I mean, Joe Burrow, injured most of the preseason, was just now getting his contract, so maybe they were out of sync, but
he looks bad.
This was, I mean, his stat line here, 14 for 31, 82 yards. That was Joe Burrow's stat line. He looked pretty bad.
If you even watch, he just looked bad.
Yeah.
He looked like frazzled, throwing the ball everywhere. However, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think the Browns are good.
Yeah. I mean, there's no.
Good this year.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's no shame in saying that. I mean, I thought Deshaun Watson looked serviceable. Nick Chubb is a great running back, 18 carries, 106 yards, and he spread the ball around pretty well too. Amari Cooper 3 for 37, Elijah Moore 3 for 43. I mean, he spread the ball out to everybody in this one. I mean, everyone on that team got a catch in this one.
And
so
he ran for a touchdown too, a nice run too.
Yeah.
I think it was like a 25-yard touchdown.
Honestly, it looks like he's shaping in the form. And Myles Garrett on defense, 4 QB hits and the game-clinching sack. And Zadarius Smith also 4 QB hits. That Cleveland Brown defense also looks legit. Would you agree?
Yeah, scary, man.
Yeah, no, I actually thought that the Browns could be a good, sneaky, like, wild card team. Because they have weapons. If Watson can kind of, I guess, I don't know, like, shake off, like, that rust that he had from being away for so long. They have the defense, right? They have the pieces on defense. So, yeah, I think they can be a scary wild card team. Or a sneaky wild card team. I don't think they're scary. I wouldn't put too much stock into how Joe Burrow looked this game, though. Remember, he didn't play all preseason. I don't even think he practiced that much because of an injury. So I think a lot of it was rust and lack of playing time. Also, like the weather, right? It was like
raining like crazy.
That's true.
Yeah. So he definitely had a horrible game. Like, it was not a good game. But I wouldn't expect it to carry over too much. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, week 1 is one of those weeks where you can rationalize it if your team does badly, that this is just the first game and they have first game jitters and it's an anomaly. Or if your team does well, like the Cowboys did, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Maybe that's, something.
That smirk, I know why you see that.
That's something good for the future.
Oh my days.
What a game! What a game! But speaking of shocks and speaking of our teams here, we're going to move on now to another shocking result here. And I'm sorry to all to say it, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming out of nowhere to beat the Minnesota Vikings in 1 p.m. Kirk Cousins, who I thought couldn't lose at 1 p.m., but he lost in this one, 20-17. What do you have to say for yourself and your Vikings, Roddy?
We were so annoying this game, okay? We had 4 turnovers in the first half of this game. And most of them were in the red zone. Kirk Cousins is the most annoying quarterback I've ever had. He does so good, and then all of a sudden, throws a pick. You're getting close, bro. He can't, he's like a 95% guy. That last 5%, missing.
Yeah.
And Justin Jefferson, oh my God. I think this guy is like Randy Moss reincarnated. He's so good. I think he's finally like on another echelon. I don't care what you guys say. Whatever his name is, the guy with the Bengals is not even close. He's so good. But you're not going to win the game with 4 turnovers in the first half. That's all. It was the most annoying thing I've ever seen. And I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Jefferson, like you mentioned, he had a tremendous game in the first half. I think he had like 130 yards in the first half, and then he only got 20 more in the second. So he ended up with 9 catches, 150 yards. And he was really all the Vikings had in this one. Jordan Addison actually did catch a touchdown. He had 4 catches, 61 yards, and
Very
a touchdown.
Nice touchdown.
It was good. It was good. Madison didn't do anything. He is not great. He had 11 carries for 34 yards. And tough game all around for the Vikings in this one. And I was impressed by how Baker Mayfield kind of moved this offense for the Bucs. Hooking up with Mike Evans for a touchdown. Hooking up with Trey Palmer and, syncing up with Chris Godwin as well. Between Evans and Godwin, 11 receptions between the two. Rachaad White, of course, is terrible. I think the running game is going to suffer. But what I saw from Baker Mayfield, and he knows where his bread is buttered, and that is with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and they got it done. I was surprised. Like you said, Kirk Cousins lost 2 fumbles. Devin White had a hell of a game. And what?
And threw a pick.
And
Very crucial pick, second half.
Yeah.
We're in the 20-yard line. We're about to score to take the lead.
Yeah.
And if we missed it, we could have kicked a field goal, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe this is the year where he's Kirk Cousins in the 1 p.m. slot, and then he's Kirk Manning in that primetime slot. So maybe
I don't want a guy. I don't want a guy like that on my team. I want a guy that's always good. What the hell is this philosophy that you have?
It's not my philosophy. It's just an observation. No,
Get
man.
rid of him, man. And then, by the way, the highest paid tight end in the league is the Minnesota Vikings. Did you guys know that?
Of course, it just happened. Yeah.
Nowhere to be found. Bumsky.
Well, actually, he had 8 catches, but for 35 yards. So that's 4.4 yards per catch. So
Yeah, that's called. Oh, we paid him money. Let's throw him the ball.
yeah,
That's what that's called.
I guess he is terrible at yards after the catch. I mean, this is horrible. 4.4 yards per catch. Jeez.
I need to go back and watch that because I thought that's something that he's actually good at. So I don't know. Maybe it was just his game.
I'm just mad. I'm emotional. This is my squad.
Yeah.
We blew it.
But it is interesting what O.I. said. Maybe this is the year that he becomes amazing in primetime and terrible at 1 p.m. That would be kind of an interesting turn of events. But we'll move on to the next game here, which is the Saints defeating the Titans 16-15 in a battle that saw two, I think mediocre quarterbacks. Ryan Tannehill looked actually really bad in this game, threw 3 interceptions. Um, DeAndre Hopkins was just okay, 7 catches, 65 yards. But the star of this game, Rada, I want you to go ahead and say his name.
Rashid Shaheed.
Rashid
Let's
Shaheed
go.
scoring the only touchdown in this game. He had 89 yards on 5 receptions, and not only that, but he's also their kick returner and their punt returner. So he had 5 kick returns for 110 yards and 2 punt returns as well. But he was the guy that won this game for him. Essentially, I mean, Chris Olave also 8 catches, 112 yards. But Rashid Shaheed, the second leading receiver, he was the winner of this game. He was the player of the game.
What a legend, man.
Absolutely.
Love this guy. And wait, I wanted to say something. Oh, Ryan Tannehill. Can we talk about Ryan Tannehill for a little bit?
3 interceptions.
Yeah, but just his entire existence.
Yeah.
This guy has been scamming the NFL for the past 6-7 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a starter, by the way, for a long time, for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And he's always been bad.
Yeah.
He
Well,
had one good year, I remember, I think with Miami. And he's been riding off of that for the last 6 years or so.
I mean, the reason why he has a job is because he has Malik Willis and Will Levis behind him, who are much worse.
Yeah, he's been able to sneak his way into teams with even worse QBs.
Yeah.
So that he looks really good.
So that's like a good strategy.
It is.
You know,
Yeah.
bringing somebody into a quarterback contract.
Yeah.
He looks like somebody that knocks on your door to tell you, "Hey, can we clean your windows?" I don't know why, but it just feels that way.
Well, after this game, man, that might be his next job, honestly.
Didn't Carr have like 2 picks too?
He had 1 pick, 1 TD, 1 pick.
I wish Knife was here for this.
Yeah, because I know
But
he had some
Derek Carr.
bad throws in this game.
Yeah, but Derek Carr is okay, man. I don't know why he hates him so much. He's not that bad. He looked good.
Yeah, dude, he had 305 yards. He threw a touchdown. I think he is at least league average. What do you think, OY?
Yeah, I think he's somewhere between like, if I had to put a number on it, somewhere between like 15 and like 20. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll move on to the next game here, which is a game that confirmed my priors and that Rolly kind of brought up at the beginning here, which is the Falcons defeating the Carolina Panthers 24-10. And we got a heavy dose of our boy Tyler El Jazair, 15 carries, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 catches for 19 yards. Bijan was active early, but then we didn't see him much later in the game. And there was a guy that I don't even know played in this game at all, named Drake London. Are you guys aware of a guy named Drake London? Because I didn't see him in this one.
Yeah, he had 0 receptions, 0 yards.
Not his fault though, man. Not his fault. His quarterback threw it to him like once, and I think Kyle Pitts only had like 1 or 2 targets too. So sums up, like it's either the head coach or the quarterback or something, because they have a lot of weapons and they don't seem to be utilizing them really well. But having said that, it's hilarious that they won, right? Like they still won this game. So Atlanta, like if they, I feel like, and I felt like this before the year, if they could like use these weapons, I think they can be like not like a serious playoff team, just like a team that can surprise you, maybe. You know, maybe win like 6, 7, 8 games or something like that.
Yeah, Bijan, I think, is going to be a problem in the NFL. Algier, yes, he had a great game, Algier, statistically speaking. But Bijan, if you watch what he did when he had the ball, except for 1 loss, he looked insane. Like, he looked like a superstar. And I'm going to say it. I think that Desmond Ridder is going to be a good quarterback.
Based on what?
I just watched one game and I made my decision.
Really?
Yeah.
Because basically he got the ball to Kyle Pitts twice, Bijan 6 times, Tyler Algier 3 times. He threw the ball to himself once for -6 yards. And the only receiver that got catches in this game was Mac Hollins. That's it.
Is it because he has the look? Roddy, does he have the look?
No. He doesn't have, actually, his name is dumb. And this is against all odds because his name is not working for him.
The Riddler.
But the way he throws the ball, he throws it very nice.
It's very soft though. Do you acknowledge that? He doesn't put a lot of pace on his ball.
But it's not Chad Pennington soft. It's a little harder.
Maybe. Well, you know what? Maybe they can find their number one damn receiver for at least one catch. I mean, but you know what? You know Arthur Smith said, and Arthur Smith is just such a weird coach. He said he's not going to force feed his receiver if the run game is working. So, if you're going to telegraph it in this way, if you have Algier and Bijan Robinson, then I guess it's just like try and stop us, and that's what he's going to do. On defense here, the Falcons, Jesse Bates was the king of this game for them. He had 2 interceptions. He had 10 total tackles, 2 passes defense. And on the other side, we'll just say one thing about the Panthers. Bryce Young didn't look as bad as I thought he would look. He did have 2 picks. He did throw a touchdown no to Hayden Hurst, and he looked pretty good out there. He looked pretty comfortable, and he looked like he has some potential to come into his own eventually.
Who's their receivers? I don't even know.
Yeah, they struggle. I mean, they're leading catchers on this game were Hayden Hurst with 5 catches, Miles Sanders with 4, Terrence Marshall had 2, Jonathan Mingo with 2, Adam Thielen with 2. Shout out to Ridley and his Vikings, Laviska Shenault. They don't have any. I mean, it's going to be Hayden Hurst leading them with receptions.
I think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL this year.
Yeah, them are the Cardinals possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Miles Sanders 18 carries, 72 yards. He was okay. Chuba Hubbard 9 carries for 60 yards. But anyway. The Falcons were the story of this game. I like the fact that they got Algier involved. I'm a big fan of Algier. But we'll move on to the next game in this one, which was the Jaguars defeating the Colts 31-21. I thought Anthony Richardson showed some good things in this one until he got injured. Hooking up with Michael Pittman. He also knows where his bread is buttered with that number one receiver. But the story of this one to me was how Calvin Ridley looked coming back from his suspension. 8 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown. What did you guys think of this one?
Man, Trevor Lawrence is really starting to get as good as I thought he was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
They look like a force out there. They look actually really good. This ETN guy, I know he was there last year, but I pronounced his name Etienne, and now I pronounce it ETN. So now he's going to be good. Now that I pronounce his name properly.
There you go.
This guy is going to be a very good player. I think they're going to be a solid team, defensively, offensively. But Trevor, to me, I know you're saying Ridley is the story, but to me, Trevor Lawrence, who was supposed to be the next greatest thing, was pretty bad his first year. We gave it to him. His second year, okay. I think he's finally coming into his role, and he looked good.
Yeah,
he looks really good out there. But in terms of the Colts, Michael Pittman Jr., man.
Mm-hmm. He's a beast, man. He's a
beast.
Yeah, absolutely. He had a chance to actually, I think, maybe win the game late. I think there was a connection that was missed between those two. But yeah, he had a tremendous game. Josh Allen on the Jaguars defense had 3 sacks. That was really big for them. There was a very weird play actually that kept this game close, where I think the Jaguars thought it was an incompletion, but Tank Bigsby kind of held the ball, thought the play was over, and then they knocked it out of Tank Bigsby's hands and went and scored a touchdown. Very bizarre, very bizarre. The Colts don't have a running back. I mean, Deion Jackson, look at this line: 13 carries for 14 yards and 2 lost fumbles.
Oof.
Oh, why? What do you think of this one?
Indy kind of surprised me a little bit. I thought that this division was just runaway. Jags are going to win this, and I still think they're going to win it for some of the reasons that Rada already talked about, like with Lawrence and Ridley in that offense. But yeah, Anthony Richardson did look good. He looked like don't take this to the bank or anything, but like he looked like a young Cam Newton with like how he ran, right? Like a big, strong guy, like running. man. Yeah, I've always been a fan of Michael Pittman's, man. I feel like people forgot last year because he didn't have a quarterback, so he wasn't really able to do much. But he was a beast this game, and it kind of shows what kind of player he can be. I think they have a legitimate shot at being the second best team in that division. If Richardson can be a decent rookie, right? If he can have a decent rookie season, I think they can be the second best team in that division this year.
Yeah, I'm on record saying I think Anthony Richardson is going to be the best of the three rookie quarterbacks. I think he showed a lot of potential in this game, both as a runner and a passer. But we're going to move on to the bludgeoning now, and I wish Sherry was on the call so he could continue to hammer his team here. The San Francisco 49ers just pummeling, just destroying the Pittsburgh Steelers 30-7. And Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, this team looks dangerous, fellas.
Yeah. I'm still not 100% sold on Purdy, but he looked good this game. He played really well. He made good throws. And the 49ers just looked crisp, man. They looked like a well-oiled machine, right? Their offense was on point. Their defense was on point. The running back or the running game in general, right? Christian McCaffrey was a beast this game. I think Bosa coming back probably gave them a lift, right? That's what all the players said. He came back 2 days before the game. So yeah, I think of all the games, even the Dallas game that we'll talk about, I think that the 49ers looked the most clean, right? In terms of how they played on both sides. They were just so crisp. So that's my big takeaway from this game.
I would hold off on that. Oh, why? Yes, they looked incredible. Everything you said is true. They do look like a well-oiled machine. They play clean. Everything is on point. However, to me, this is a story of the breaking apart, the falling apart, the destruction of the Pittsburgh Steelers and their coach. And
Amen.
I think it's time to get rid of this guy. I think Mike Tomlin, it's done, baby. That's it.
Oh, you think this is
keep
Tomlin?
getting worse.
You
Am
think?
I not the only one that's seeing this? They keep getting worse every year. Not better, worse.
Man, I just hate to affirm what Sherry has been saying, that this was all because of Mike Tomlin. I mean, really, just this team.
I think so too.
There was so much of just Kenny Pickett praise over the offseason after he was so mediocre last year.
No.
Kenny Pickett is not a good quarterback. He threw one touchdown,
he's
2 interceptions. And
he's better than me, but that's not saying much.
Oh yeah, I think probably every NFL quarterback is 10 times better than all of us. Najee Harris, I don't think is a good running back either. 6 carries, 31 yards. I think Jalen Warren is the better running back. I think they should give him more play. But Allen Robinson, resurgence in this one, 5 catches for 64 yards.
That's the resurgence? That's how bad this team is.
Right. Deontay Johnson looks like he got injured. George Pickens, they don't give him the ball enough. He only had 5 catches bowling for 36 yards. TJ Watt, I will give credit to him. He wrecked this game. He had 3 sacks, a tackle for loss, 5 QB hits, and a pass deflection. He was everywhere. If you had him in fantasy IDP, of course, Naif knows he got him 50 points. It was insane. But this is a tale of 2 teams going in different directions. As a Seahawks supporter, I'm very scared of the Niners and the Steelers here. I think that they're fluff, honestly. I don't think Pickett's that great. I don't think their running game is that great. And they're going to have to rely on really just TJ Watt.
This team needs a full rebuild from the ground up.
Yeah.
Everybody here, I'm telling you from now, everybody on the Steelers is not going to be in the NFL in the next 2 to 3 years.
Wow.
Okay, that's I don't know
that's the Rudley hyperbole we love and we come to expect from week to week here. We're going to move on to another game of 2 of maybe the worst teams in the league. I thought Washington was going to look a lot better. They barely eke past the Cardinals here, 20-16, in a game that the Cardinals easily could have won. And this one was ugly all around. I mean, I don't really have a lot to say about this one. Jonathan Allen had 3 QB hits. He had a sack. Montez Sweat, a sack and a half. Do you guys have any comments on this one? This was kind of a ho-hum game that the Washington Commanders just survived.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. This was a really tough game to watch, actually, and I'm glad I didn't watch a lot of it. But I'll just say this: so my preseason prediction, or what, like my forecast, whatever, was I actually thought that the Commanders could be the third best team in that division, or in our division. Like, I actually thought that if some of the pieces fell right for them, that they could be better than the Giants, to be honest with you. But it also depended on Chase Young, who got hurt again, right? Who's hurt. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I agree with you. They survived this game, and I picked them in survival. So I was definitely nervous for a while. So I don't know how they came back and like they won, but not much to kind of, I guess, to build on. I guess they're just looking at this as like the first win of like this new era, and I guess they have that. I don't know.
You know, this game was actually very inspirational for me.
Why?
It inspired me to start a new segment that I'd like to pitch to you guys from week to week.
Yes.
The segment is called the Who Cares Game of the Week. And this game is this week's Who Cares. None of these teams matter. None of these players matter.
Yeah.
Let's just move on to the next one, man.
Absolutely. Amen. I can't wait to move on. We'll move on to another game here that was just only slightly better, in my opinion, in this one. The Raiders defeating the Broncos 17-16. I thought, my old Seahawk, Russell Wilson, definitely looked better in this game than in previous years, or than last year. Had 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. We're not used to seeing him not throw interceptions these days. Spread the ball around, a lot. None of his receivers got more than 40 yards. Samaje Perine was the leading receiver. Jamonte Williams didn't look that great. But he finally is getting a connection with Cortland Sutton, who is his best receiver, which I like to see. There was also a guy named Lil Jordan Humphrey that caught a touchdown in this one. That is one of the most unique names I've ever seen. But one of the stories in this one was Jacoby Myers, the new Raider, 9 catches, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And I thought the Raiders looked just slightly better than the Broncos.
Yeah, man, for me, this is like, these two teams are like both going to barely hang on towards the end of the season. They're either going to barely miss the playoffs or barely make the playoffs. They're not bad enough to be horrible, but I don't think they're good enough to make the playoffs. Like 8-8, 7-9 type teams. Other than their quarterbacks, which I think are decent, I'd put them in the top 15. But nothing above, but in between 15 and 10, both of these QBs. But they're both lacking on offense, tremendously lacking on offense. And their defenses are mediocre at best. And if you look at the score of this game, it's a perfect reflection of all the talent that's on the squad. QBs did well, everybody else pretty much did average or terrible. Except for the 2 TDs, but whatever.
So when I got like those messages, surprise onside, blah blah blah. Bro, I was not surprised. I was like, this is the most Sean Payton thing ever, to do like a surprise onside on like the first kick. So to me, like the thing I was looking at was him kind of like leaving his thumbprint on this team, right? And I think that's what I'm gonna want to see moving forward, because I do think he'll kind of get Russell to play a lot better than he was last year. We already, like you said, saw a little bit of it. I actually think, to be honest, the Broncos are better than the Raiders. Like, I think they're a better team. I think they just lost this game. The problem for the Broncos is that they're going to have to deal with all those preseason injuries that they had.
Yep.
And I think trying to overcome that, I think, might be a problem for them.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they look better if Jerry Jeudy comes back, when he comes back. Patrick Surtain had 3 pass deflections in this game. He is a bright spot for the Broncos. But other than that, I think that these are 2 teams that are going to end up being at the bottom of the NFC West. As we welcome in, if I can find a way to get him in here, dismiss. Let me see. All right.
Look who's here, man.
Who is this?
What's up, guys? Good morning. Good
What's
morning.
up, man? How long you been a barista for?
About 3 years and 5 months, man.
Nice. Welcome,
How you
man.
guys doing?
We're about to jump into the most exciting game of the week, which was the Miami Dolphins defeating the Los Angeles Chargers 36-34. This was an incredible, high-paced game. Tyreek Hill, 11 catches, 215 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Tua had 466 yards and 3 touchdowns. This was a back and forth game. Justin Herbert only threw for a touchdown, but it was the Chargers running game that really led them. Eckler, 117 yards and a touchdown. Josh Kelly, 91 yards and a touchdown, and Herbert ran for a touchdown. This was a freaking track meet, and the game ended on a sack by Vic Fangio's defense to seal the game for the Dolphins. What'd y'all see in this one?
NF, jump in.
MMA, man. I think this speaks volumes to the importance of MMA. I mean, Tua just went through the whole game without getting hurt.
Yeah.
MMA is the best sport on planet Earth. What more can you say?
Yeah.
What?
I'm confused.
Yeah, so he trained MMA over the offseason in order to avoid concussions. So I guess it at least 1 out of 17 games it worked.
No, I was talking to Hawaii before the season started, and I was telling him I think these Dolphins are going to surprise everybody. I have them as one of the teams that are going to go really far this year, barring injury. So as long as that MMA thing works, I think the Dolphins are going really far.
Is there like any science behind that, like the MMA thing of concussions?
I don't think so.
I mean,
maybe.
If anything, that would
Maybe it's like a more type of thing where he's fallen correctly. I don't know.
no, man. This guy just wants clicks and views, and look, it's working. He just wants people to talk about him.
Yeah.
MMA
Hey,
is a
he
hot
played
sport.
He did. Hey, he was sensational. I think he had the best QB performance of Week 1, right? Like I don't
I
even
agree,
think
yes.
close. I heard somebody say on one of these shows. I think it was on SportsCenter or something. I don't know. They said that the Dolphins look like the fastest offense that they've ever seen. I think that's probably hyperbole, but I do think that they're the fastest offense in the NFL right now, right? Mm-hmm. Like with those 2 receivers, and I think I already talked to Naif about this. I always thought, Tyreek Hill was just like a fast guy, right? Like you just throw him deep and you just throw him. No. This guy can actually like run routes and play receiver.
He's dangerous.
6 yards open every time. Or why? He's 6 yards open on like NFL cornerbacks.
Yeah, I think at this point, I agree. I do think he's the best receiver in the league. Well, second best.
Slow down.
I can't put him over Justin.
I think he's the best.
Yo, shut up, man. You're just a hater, bro.
No, I think Justin Jefferson's number 2 for sure.
No, he's not. He's not even close to Justin Jefferson.
But you should.
Hill?
But Roddy, I would check out this game because also he caught a ball in the corner of an end zone, just like a number 1 receiver, and it was incredible. He is more than just speed. He is catching ability. He is running. He is route running. He is great.
Yes, but
he's burning them on routes, on elementary routes.
Yeah, and Tyreek Hill has a better situation than Justin Jefferson does, with Jalen Waddle next to him, and he's just a great receiver. And Tua putting up these yards despite 10 pass deflections by the Chargers in this one, including 3 by J.C. Jackson. So the Chargers are not a bad team, and they can absolutely contend for the best team in the NFC West along with the Chiefs. I think they looked really good as well.
They did. Justin Herbert looks really good.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen still got it. I think this is like, what is his 10th year or something?
Yeah.
Kellen Moore will be the downfall.
I heard Kellen Moore got cute again on 3rd down. I need to go back and watch it. That's what I heard.
He did. Go back and watch it. He did. He reverted.
Yeah. Well,
all game and he reverted.
And another tragic Mike Williams injury in the first week of the season. This guy is just completely injury prone. We'll see if Quentin Johnson can kind of step up and fill in for him. But we'll move on to another almost upset, and I'm sure you Cowboys fans would have loved to see this happen. The Eagles barely hanging on against the Patriots 25-20 after this game was 19-0 to start the game. the Eagles let their foot off the pedal essentially, and almost let the Patriots all the way back, if not for a receiver on the Patriots who couldn't keep his feet in bounds. Do you guys think that this was just like first game jitters for the Eagles, or are they going to be struggling this year?
I think it was 16-0 at the first quarter.
16.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, man. Like I think like there have been some changes for Philly, right? It's you change both coordinators. They lost some players on defense. Kobe Dean got hurt. I don't remember when exactly he got hurt, but he got hurt. And I don't know. Like I feel like I said this all last year. I said like 95% of their offense is like RPOs, right? And it's like, okay, like how do you evolve now beyond that? And that's kind of like what I think they need to do, right? It's like you need to continue to evolve like that offense and the passing game. So that's going to be interesting, man. I think like on the other side, I think the Patriots are actually a decent team. I don't think they're a bad team at all. And I think like as the season goes on, I think they'll start to gel and they'll start to play better. Like they had, like remember, like Zeke had a fumble, and I think they had like another pick too, right? So I think if they start playing cleaner, I think that, well, if they did play cleaner, I think this game could have gone a different way.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about the Eagles, man. Like they're gonna be good again. It's just the first game, and the Patriots, like I said, they're not bad. They're well coached. They don't give up. But I wouldn't worry about the Eagles. I think they're gonna be dominant. I think they're going to be better than the Cowboys.
Really?
This is bad Eagles all the way. That middle of the defense was wide open. Okay, let me ask you a question. Was this not the best game from Matt Jones since his rookie year?
For Mac Jones,
that's not saying
after the first quarter, he looked pretty good.
He looked pretty damn good, and that middle of the defense was wide open, man. Listen, guys, they lost some guys. Not only did they lose some coordinators, they lost some guys. I think this is bad Eagles more than it's good Patriots. And I mean, but what's bad Eagles? I'm saying they're not Super Bowl Eagles. Maybe they're divisional or NFC Championship Eagles, but it's definitely bad Eagles.
Yeah. Well, Tom Brady was in attendance in this one, and they honored him at halftime. I don't know if he went in there and gave him a pep talk or what, but they were really inspired in the second half, and they really almost won this game. This says to me a little bit about the Eagles, the fact that they let the Patriots back in. The rushers in this game really surprised me. The leading rusher for the Eagles was Kenneth Gainwell with 54 yards, and the leading rusher for the Patriots was your boy, Ezekiel Elliott, with 29 yards. I thought that was very, very surprising. He did lose a fumble, but I thought this game was going to be a snoozer. It ended up being more competitive than I thought. So it'll be interesting to see where both of these teams go here. But we're going to move to another bit of a shocker in this one. It just seems to me that the Packers can only find great quarterbacks for some reason. And Jordan Love, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in this one as they crush the Bears 38-20.
So I think this guy's going to be good, guys. Like scary good.
Bro, I told Naif like a week before the season. So we were recording like
he did, and I got it
on my pod that unfortunately I screwed up the audio on.
I've been there.
I told Naif, I was like, bro, keep an eye on Jordan Love. Like I have a feeling about this guy, and I think there's something to sitting right for 1 or 2 or 3 years and learning behind a quarterback, especially like a guy like Aaron Rodgers, right? I think that does wonders, or it can do wonders. And I think he looked really good, man. Like, I'm not going to, like, rush to jump to conclusions and take it, like, super far. But,
that's my job, OY.
yeah, I think he can be good. I definitely think he can be good. On the other side, it's kind of, disappointing that they didn't really get the ball to – the Bears didn't really get the ball to their weapons. Like, DJ Moore, I think, only had, like, 2 catches. You got to find a way to get him the ball, man. Like I know Jair Alexander was covering him, but it doesn't matter. You scheme up ways to get that guy open and get him the ball. He's your best player, so you got to get him the ball. So that's what I would would say for that.
Look, I agree. I know you don't want to jump. I'll jump. I think Jordan Love's going to be amazing. Like one of the best quarterbacks in the league for the next 10 years or so. He looked so. Sometimes somebody just passes the eye test. I'm not going to talk about the Bears. The Bears, they should just change their name to the Bumps. They're trash, and they're going to be trash for the rest of the year. I'm not worried about the Bears at all. The Packers look like a good team, and Jordan Love. I don't want to play this guy, man.
Yeah.
You know what I want? I want Aaron Rodgers to leave the Jets, come back to the Vikings next year, and we have a Brett Favre situation all over again.
Really?
Wow.
This time win the Super Bowl.
Well, we'll get to what happened to Aaron Rodgers here, but Quay Walker, what an incredible play by him. The pick six, and this is a new season, same story for Justin Fields. Unfortunately, he's a great runner, but he just can't get his weapons the ball. You get him DJ Moore, you spend a really high draft pick to get it to him. You can't, and you just can't utilize him. And one thing that I think should take place here is I think Roshan Johnson is the best running back on the Bears, and I think he should overtake Khalil Herbert as their leading rusher. You have to give credit to the Packers without Christian Watson, and it's undeniable what Jordan Love did on this game. It's amazing. It's like plug and play for the Packers. They're destined to have great quarterbacks. So we'll move on.
And he passes the name test.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey.
Huh?
Yeah, we're not even going to talk about you, NF.
Go ahead. I think you just froze up, NF. So we're gonna move.
Against other teams.
Huh?
I said it was the Packers against the Bears, man. Can we give it a couple weeks? The Packers own the Bears. They own that city.
I know.
Aaron Rodgers, every time he scored a touchdown.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
definitely fair.
Yeah, but you know what?
Nah.
They don't own Minnesota, baby.
Yeah. Naif, of course, joining us live from Bahrain. The
It's
fact
got a
that we can
couple
even
more
get him
weeks.
into this Google Meet is a miracle. But we're going to move on now to the Seahawks and the Rams. I'm not going to take too much time on this game. I already covered it in another podcast where I ranted on this game. It was absolutely pathetic. The Seahawks losing to the Rams here, a game where it should have been an easy win for them. The Rams without Cooper Kupp, that of course have traded Jalen Ramsey. They don't have Odell Beckham. They didn't even get Van Jefferson involved in this game. Disgusting. Allowing 16 catches and 240 yards to Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua, and only putting up 3 yards in the entire second half until the last play of the game. What the hell is going on with Naif's boy Geno Smith? That's really all I want to hear. What's going on with Geno Smith? Is he going to be okay this season, Naif? You got to talk me down here.
Before we jump on Geno Smith, what's up with the Seahawks cornerbacks giving up 10 catches and 100 yards to some wide receiver whose name I can't even pronounce?
Yeah.
Watch out. This guy has the best names in the world.
Yeah.
What's his name? I don't even know how to pronounce his name. What's his name?
Yeah.
Puka Nacua.
Puka Nacua and Tutu
What the hell
Atwell.
was that?
But
Who was guarding him?
That's a superstar name.
yeah. But how about how do you justify 3 yards in the second half?
That's what you guys had?
Yeah.
Holy moly, that's bad.
Yeah. It ain't good.
Oh my days. How's that even possible?
Not
Yeah.
as bad as the Giants.
That's right. And this is a perfect segue because if you want to hear more about this game, listen to the podcast I put up yesterday. It's a Seahawks Rams recap, but we're going to move on now to the big blowout of the week. The Dallas Cowboys defeating the New York Giants 40-0. Cowboys fans, the floor is yours.
Go ahead, Knife.
I think he's. Go ahead.
You go ahead. I'm crossing the border right now.
Okay, so big story.
All right. I'm just going to say something.
Go ahead.
I expected the Cowboys to thrash the Giants. I didn't expect 40-0. Expected like 40-7. But I mean, it's business as usual. We knew this defense was going to be this good. I told you before the season, it's Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah.
That's what it's looking like. Go
Yeah.
Cowboys.
So I don't want to I think repeat a lot of the points that like everybody everybody else is saying. But so 2 quick points about the defense. It starts all with Micah, right? And I'm not even going to get into like his stats, but the play that really like sums up the impact that he has on this defense, it's that play where he rushed from the inside and he took on 2 blockers, and then Osa Odigizua came in, like he was outside and then he moved inside because Micah freed up like a lane for him and he got the sack. So what Micah's doing now is he's freeing up sacks and plays for other players. And when you have a guy who can do that, right, like you have like an Aaron Donald or something who does that, that's when you're at like that generational, like, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but like all-time great level, and that's like what Micah's trying to do. So he completely like has changed that defense. Offensively, I know we didn't have yards and touchdowns, but they were 6th in EPA, like all offenses, which is kind of impressive, honestly, given like the rain and the conditions and things like that. I thought they were moving the ball well. I thought they looked sharp at times, but the problem is that they didn't finish, right? There were drops. There was like a missed throw or two. And I think Naif made a good point to me. This was almost like a preseason game for the offense. So, there's maybe some rust and some cobwebs. On the other side, man, I feel so bad for the... Actually, no, I don't feel bad for the Giants at all. Because, bro, they were talking so much, and one hilarious stat is that they had 16 net passing yards in that game. Oof. 16 passing yards, bro. Like, net as a whole team. So, they deserved everything that they had coming to them after all that smack they were talking. I thoroughly enjoyed that game, and I know Naif did as well. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
I really did. Listen, guys, I'm about to cut up. I just crossed into Saudi Arabia. But Stephon Gilmore, man. Stephon Gilmore is a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
I knew he was
and guess who kept him off the greatest cornerbacks list and who put him on there? I put him on there.
Listen. Let's do that list again, because it's going to be completely different.
Yes, better be on that list.
I think we're going to the Super Bowl, guys.
Listen, slow down. First of all, let me give you my point of view. This was actually another inspirational game for me, guys.
Okay.
It's going to inspire another segment that we're going to have on the show, hopefully next week.
Yes.
And it's called the Bum of the Week. And the Bum of the Week for Week 1 has to be Daniel Jones. Yeah. Holy crap. This guy is bad. He's so bad.
Yeah.
He's so bad, I wouldn't even give the Cowboys that much credit. Like, I would slow down on saying the Cowboys are going to go to the Super Bowl, they're going to win. This guy is horrible. What is he doing in the NFL? Get him out of there.
Yeah. 15 for 28, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He also fumbled the ball twice, but managed to recover both of those fumbles. The receivers, man, I mean, Darren Waller, 3 catches, 36 yards. The next highest guy was 24 yards, was Isaiah Hodgins. I'm very surprised they didn't get Darius Slayton more involved. Sterling Shepard just got 1 target, no catches. Daniel Bellinger, nothing. Jalen Hyatt, nothing. Man, I mean, Brian Daboll went from like the hero from last year to nothing this year. And you guys mentioned it. Dallas completely dominant. Didn't even need to throw a touchdown. Had 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 from Tony Pollard, 1 from Kevontae Turpin. And Micah Parsons, I tell you what, that guy looks like a beast. I mean, he looks like the best defensive player in the league. They also have Stephon Gilmore, who is really great. I mentioned Osa, Dorrance Armstrong, 2 QB hits. I mean, this was a complete domination. I think that they could really set up as one of the best teams in the NFC, and between them and the Niners, really make a Super Bowl run. But it is Week 1, so we still have to see. There's a lot of games left in the season, and so we will see. But we'll move on to the last game, the game that just happened here. The other New York team, the New York Jets. This was what they call a Pyrrhic victory, where you win the game, but you lose more in your loss. And we saw Aaron Rodgers go down. Initially, they said it was an ankle injury, but now they're saying upon further examination, it looks like he tore his Achilles and he might be out for the year. This was a game that saw Josh Allen throw 3 interceptions. I think all of them. Jordan Whitehead had all 3 interceptions. And the Bills, this is the same story for Josh Allen, throwing interceptions and losing the game for them.
Guys, it's actually happening. Okay, my dream is coming true. Aaron Rodgers is going to join the Vikings next year. He's out for the year. They're going to be like, we don't want this guy. They're going to eliminate him. They're going to doubt him again. And then he's going to come. But Kirk Cousins is going to leave. He's trash. He's going to have a bad year. We're going to go 9-7 and miss the playoffs. And finally, Aaron Rodgers will come to the Minnesota Vikings, and we will complete the dream of winning the Super Bowl.
Hey man, this is sad. Like honestly, like I actually feel for Aaron Rodgers. Like that sucks, bro. Like because if it is an Achilles, like yeah, obviously he's out for the year, but guys, he's 39 years old, right? And you gotta wonder like how that impacts, like how that's gonna impact like Roddy's dream here of playing Minnesota, right? Or like just playing at all. Like that really sucks. Like as a guy whose team has been on the receiving end of Aaron Rodgers, like I hate the guy as a football player, but like I hate injuries, so that sucks. Having said that, as far as the game, like what a great game, right? Like that was, I think that was the most entertaining game maybe of the year. I know that Miami Chargers game was the best, like in terms of going up and down the field, but this one had like so much emotional, I think, energy behind it, right? Like the quarterback goes down and the defense gets these picks, and like they come back and they win on the walk-off punt return. I thought that was a great game, at least a fun game, right? And last point, and I've said it again, like bro, Josh Allen is a really good quarterback, but man, sometimes he's just so erratic and he's so reckless with the ball sometimes, and he really needs to like learn to kind of tone that down a little bit and just be a little boring, right? Sometimes you just got to be a little boring and make like the safe throw, and that cost him tonight, man. Some of those throws just totally screwed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this game speaks to the legitimacy of the Mormon religion. Zach Wilson was probably sitting there all night praying.
No. This is Islam, my friend. Robert Saleh.
He was praying that Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, and Zach Wilson's prayers were answered. Listen, man, it sucks for Rodgers. But again, it's an Achilles. He doesn't have to be a mobile quarterback. We had one of the greatest quarterback of all time, according to you guys, is one of the slowest quarterbacks of all time. So I don't think that's a problem if he wants to come back. I think all these dreams will come true. But it sucks for me because I wanted to see the Dallas Cowboys mollywop the New York Football Jets in Dallas next week with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. But unfortunately, it's going to have to be Zach Wilson. But yeah, maybe this is a chance for Zach Wilson to reclaim that quarterback position and prove the doubters wrong. We'll see. Good win for the Jets overall. Good win.
Good win for the Jets. This was all about their defense and their special team. Shout out Xavier Gibson, who had that punt return touchdown to win the game for them. Zach Wilson, however, looked like regular Zach Wilson. He had 140 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Breece Hall had like 2 carries for 103 yards to start the game. Ended up with 10 carries for 127 yards. Garrett Wilson caught a touchdown. But this team is going to look very, very different if they don't have Aaron Rodgers. This is kind of a rally around, the fact that he got injured. But without Aaron Rodgers, if you're going to be trusting Zach Wilson, I don't know that they're going to do very well. On the Buffalo side here, I mean, thank God they have Stephon Diggs, and he didn't force his way out because Diggs, 10 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown. Everybody else had pretty much nothing. Gabe Davis was supposed to have a breakout year, 2 catches, 32 yards. Dalton Kincaid, they drafted him in the first round, only 26 yards. And I thought the Bills were pretty disappointing in this game after a lot of hype during the offseason. And the last thing I'll say is watch some of the post-game stuff, what people said. I mean, Josh Allen really admitted to the fact that he blew this game, and he knows what I mentioned, that he has an issue with those turnovers. He had 3 interceptions, and he had 2 fumbles. He lost one of the fumbles, almost had 5 turnovers in this game. So he acknowledged that. And then also, when Zach Wilson said, they asked him, did you go out and check on Aaron Rodgers when he got injured? And he said that he didn't really talk to him. He just went and said, love you, bro, and then just walked back off of the field. So I don't know. I don't know that he's necessarily happy that this happened. Of course, if you listen to what he said, it seems like he was preying on his downfall a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see where both of these teams go. It'll be interesting to see where the AFC East goes, because this is becoming a really interesting division.
Bro, if I'm the Jets, and if it is like an Achilles, I'm trading or signing like a quarterback, because what I saw tonight they have an elite defense, and those running backs looked good, man. Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook looked good, and if you kind of don't take advantage of that, I think you're missing out on an opportunity. So if I'm them, I would package like a first and a second, and I would trade for Trey Lance, and I would
Cooper.
Yeah.
Huh?
Cooper Rush, yeah.
Yeah, Cooper Rush.
By the way, just on Josh Allen's interceptions and turnovers, apparently that was also Dak Prescott's fault. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Definitely. Well, that was our week 1 reaction show, fellas. We're coming up against the clock here. I want to thank you guys so much for jumping on. Again, you're following on YouTube or you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Listening on a podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. Subscribe, follow, give us a good rating. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So find us on there. And Ridley has a couple new segments for us, so you guys have that to look forward to next week. OY, NF, and the Rada. Until next week, have a fantastic day, football fans.